Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today from McFarlane Toys, we are featuring the Batman, the Animated Series 4-pack. So this wonderful set includes Batman, Harvey Bullock, the Joker, and Harley Quinn. On the back of the box, let's see what's on here. Not much other than just photos of the action figures. Alright, so let's get started and unbox this and check it out. Alright, so we have this beautiful 4-pack. On our left, we have animated Batman, we have Detective Harvey Bullock, the Joker, and Harley Quinn. As you can see, there's also a large number of accessories for each figure. For Batman, we have multiple hands, the Batarang, and also the grapple gun. Alright, so the grapple gun, if you look at it carefully, it's actually his hand molded with the grapple gun, so it's actually one piece. Bullock has extra hands, handcuffs, a whole donut, and a half donut. The Joker has additional hands. There's also the Joker fish. I guess his cane. And then Harley has additional hands here as well. Underneath, you have the cardboard insert, which is a beautiful illustration of Gotham. My suggestion is, if you're a loose collector, don't throw out this insert. This might be something you can use in your display base or your shelf display or whatever. Or set it up for a diorama. Alright, so let's get started. I'm not sure how deep I'll go into each review. At the very least, I'll unbox each figure and, just cover over the basics since there's so many of them. Let's start off with Batman first. Or actually, let's work our way backwards. Let's do Batman last. Alright, so I'm going to take out all the ties now, just so I don't have to do it later. Alright, so I found this today at my local Walmart. It retailed for $99, which is kind of pricey. So you're paying, roughly, $25 for each figure. I've rarely seen McFarlane animated series figures in the wild. I've only seen them once before at the FYE at my local mall. And the FYE at my local mall, they charge like an arm and a leg for each figure. I think they charge anywhere, close to like $40 per figure. Their markup is like ridiculous at my store. So for me to pay $99 for this box set, it seemed like a lot, but at the same time, it was more reasonable than buying them solo. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think the Bullock figure is an exclusive to this set. I might be wrong on that though. If you're a longtime animated series fan, there's other options besides McFarlane. Way back in the day, Kenner made figures for the animated series. DC Direct, DC Collectibles, they had their own line of animated series figures. But the McFarlane ones, they look awesome. So this is my first sampling of this style of action figure. So far I've only been reviewing the their 7-inch multiverse line. These figures are smaller. These are 6-inch scale. God, there's a lot of ties. It's going to take a while. Alright, we're almost through with Harvey here. I want to say, I think the first series of McFarlane animated Batman figures go for a lot on the secondary market, I think. So if you can find them for a decent price, you know, I'd say grab them. The older direct DC collectibles versions aren't bad either. Those are actually pretty cool. DC collectibles, they even made a Bat Cave, which is it's like super expensive. It's really cool though. It looks, you know, pretty true to the what you saw in the cartoon. And then DC, they also made a Batmobile, an animated Batmobile, and also animated Batwing. Alright, we're almost there. I think I just have 2 more to do. Alright, last one, I think. Alright, there we go. Alright, so for now, I'm just going to leave the accessories in the tray. Some of them are kind of small, and I don't want to accidentally lose any of these. So at the very least, we're going to take a look at the action figures. Alright, so let's do Harley first. And then we'll save Batman for last. Okay, so we have Harley Quinn here. This kind of reminds me of the old Kenner figure. These come, or at least she comes in at $5 1/4. Beautiful sculpt. You know, these look very true to the animated models. Nice shade of red. It's a really deep, vibrant, rich shade. I like the choice in black also. It's not too glossy. In terms of Harley's articulation, her head rotates. Oh wow, you have a pretty versatile head movement here with her. That's nice. Her arms rotate, they go out. Elbow bend, elbow swivel. So this is where the figures individually might feel overpriced. Like, you know, if you're paying $99 for this set, you know, you're essentially paying $25 for each figure. And the amount of articulation on like a figure like Harley, it's not a lot. You know, this is almost comparable to like one of those budget Hasbro Spider-Man figures, you know, for the new Spider-Verse line. Curious also is that they're using the older style of hip joint here. As you can see, this is kind of very reminiscent of what Mattel did with the DC Classics. It's kind of like a T-bar. And then, but the range of motion for some of it's kind of limited. Yeah, so, you know, don't expect like super articulated figures. These feel much more like display pieces. And if you're into figure photography, I think the poses that you could pull off with these might be kind of limited. You know, a figure like this isn't as articulated as, like, you know, maybe like a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. It's kind of, you know, a little basic on the basic side, but it's nice though. It's presentation wise, it's what you expect for a figure like this. So that's Harley. All right, up next we have the Joker. Love the color scheme on this. Beautiful head sculpt. Very clean paint application. He kind of has that cell shaded look. They kind of paint the shadows underneath his lapels. Again, very basic in terms of the articulation. And the cell shading is really nice also because, what you're not necessarily, you might not notice, you might be taking it for granted, but like this is actually a darker shade of purple than the front. Just kind of naturally blends in with the lighting. His head rotates, arms rotate, and then they go outward. The vest is a separate piece, but it feels like it's glued onto the torso. The elbows bend, and then they swivel also. Articulated wrists, and then if you see, there's a joint right there, so they fold in and out. It's a little stiff on mine. I don't think there's a waist swivel on this guy. Again, they have that kind of like T-joint for the hip, so it goes out like this. It's a very antiquated style of articulation. Knees bend, and then I think the ankles, I'm not sure if the ankles rotate or swivel, and that's the extent of motion for the Joker. Up next, we have Detective Harvey Bullock. This is one of those characters that I've always been wanting a figure of. Now that we have him, I'd love for them to do an animated Commissioner Gordon. The cell shading is a little bit more extreme on this guy. It's not like a natural fit unless you capture him under the right lighting. Because you can see here, the shadows here, they kind of bleed over almost a little bit too much. And on the side of his face, it looks kind of awkward. It's a much darker flesh tone where the shadow is, as opposed to the face. A nice, hefty, bulky figure. Again, you can see the cell shading on the pant legs. In terms of his articulation, his head rotates. Arms rotate. They go, I don't know if they go out. They do, I can feel them going out, but I don't want to force it because it feels like it's kind of like stops at a certain point. Elbows bend. A little stiff on mine. They swivel. Articulated wrists. Alright, so one thing I noticed also is that he doesn't come with a pistol. Much like other McFarlane DC figures, he doesn't come with any like firearms. Legs kick out about there. They bend at the knee. Again, there's the cell shading. It doesn't flow as well on this figure compared to the other ones, in my opinion. It might be a little bit too much. And then the ankles swivel. Nice sculpt overall. For me, this is kind of like the big selling point. I really wanted a Detective Bullock figure. And then lastly, we come to Batman himself, the Dark Knight. I kind of dig the cell shading on here. It looks good on the back. I dig how they kind of emulate the folds in the cape. It doesn't seem as out of place like on the Bullock figure. Nice shade of gray. The emblem is really clean. It's a little bit, as you can see, the paint application is a little bit off on one side. Very clean utility belt. His articulation is as follows. Head rotates. Arms rotate. Everything feels a little bit stiff on these figures. Does it go out? Alright. Arms, they go out a little bit, not that much. Elbow bend, elbow swivel, articulated wrists. No waist swivel. Legs kick. Mine feels stuck. I don't want to force it. Alright, so yeah, my legs. Alright, so this is where the design's a little bit different. As you can see, he doesn't have the T-joint for the hip like the other figures. And my joints feel stuck. I don't want to force them. Really, they're really stuck. Double pinned knees. They feel kind of gummy. I don't want to bend them either. I've had bad luck with some of the quality control on some figures. So, and then articulated ankles. So overall, I think it's a solid set. I'm not sure if there's a cheaper alternative to this. Like, how do I put this? Okay, so my attitude towards these is that these feel much more like display pieces than like your traditional modern action figure. One thing that bothers me is that the articulation scheme is inconsistent. Like for these three figures, they all feature a similar articulation scheme with the legs, but then Batman is very different. You know, he doesn't have like the T-joint hip, and then his knee articulation is a lot different also. So there's kind of like a disconnect here. It almost feels like these three figures on the right are from like a completely different line, and this feels like a little bit out of style with these. Scale wise, I'm not sure if the heights are accurate. Harley is going to be the shortest. Bullock almost seems too tall. So yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of conflicted with this set. So when I was saying, you know, if there's other options, you know, if you're really into Batman the animated series, I think there's a line of bendy figures that, you know, if all you care about is just displaying them, I think they're more reasonably priced. But I'm not sure if they have a Bullock figure, and they look a lot cleaner since they're bendies. They don't have the joints. DC collectibles, you know, they're really nice figures, but those came out some years ago, and the price on those on the secondary market's pretty high. So I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on this. Unless you really like this set a lot, I suggest, you know, try to get a good deal for it. I think, you know, $99 is a little bit too steep. For me, the sweet spot on this figure set should have been, you know, $75 to $80. I think, you know, each figure should be individually priced, you know, maybe at around $20 to $22. $100 is a little bit too, like I said, it's a little steep for this set. It's nice though. You know, don't get me wrong, the quality, the presentation's beautiful, but, you know, I just have some minor quibbles with it. Like I said, you know, it kind of bothers me that there's some disconnect with the way the figures are articulated. You know, these three feel like they belong in the same line, but the Batman's feels a little bit different. The range of motion in terms of the articulation too, I can't tell how far some of these joints go because they're just super tight out of the box, and I don't want to force them because, you know, I don't know what the breaking point is for some of these. Because there's some action figure lines like Marvel Legends that they require a little bit more effort to accidentally break just because of the material they're made of. These feel like they're not really meant to be played with. They feel like they're just meant to be put on display and kind of be monoposed. But yeah, it's a nice set, don't get me wrong, but it's just up to you whether you think, you know, the price tag is worth it. All right, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.